History remembers emperors and conquerors, but sometimes history forgets. The Duchy of Saxony, a name whispered in the annals of time, is one such forgotten empire. This wasn't just an insignificant duchy lost in the heart of Europe, but the Saxons controlled an empire that dwarfed even modern-day Germany. Yet, for all their might, the Saxons are often relegated to the footnotes of history books. Welcome to Arnie's Brain Train, I'm Alex Arnold, and today we're going to uncover the truth behind the Saxon Empire. A truth that should rewrite your understanding of medieval Europe. Here we go. The Saxons didn't burst onto the scene as a conquering force. Their rise was slow, deliberate, calculated. They were masters of leveraging their strengths, exploiting weaknesses, and forging alliances. Their empire wasn't built on military might alone. Saxon merchants became power players, their wealth rivaling that of kings. The Saxons were playing the long game, and they were winning. What truly set the Saxons apart, though, was their political acumen. They understood all of the intricacies of alliances, the importance of leverage, and the art of manipulation. They could make and break emperors, and their support sought after by those vying for control of the Holy Empire. They could make or break emperors, their support sought after by those vying for control of the Holy Roman Empire. Their network of power was vast, their influence reaching into every corner of Europe. The Saxon Empire wasn't built on conquest, it was built on strategy, cunning, and an unyielding ambition. This story, their story, is a testament to the power of intellect and strategy. Long before the whispers of Saxon Empire echoed through the halls of power, these formidable people were carving out their destiny amidst the dense forests and rolling hills of northern Germania. The Saxons weren't a unified nation, not yet. They existed as a collection of tribes, each fiercely independent, their loyalties bound by blood ties and a shared heritage. These tribes possessed a rich cultural tapestry woven with intricate social structures and complex belief systems. Life for the Saxons was a delicate dance between subsistence and conflict. Their story, though yet untold in the grand narrative of empires, was already one of remarkable tenacity and an indomitable spirit. In the late 8th century, the winds of change swept across Germania, carrying with them the ambitions of a king determined to forge an empire. Charlemagne's conquest of Saxony was a brutal affair, spanning decades of relentless warfare. The Saxons, fiercely independent, resisted with the tenacity that impressed even their enemies. Charlemagne recognized the Saxons' martial prowess and sought to integrate their strength into his burgeoning empire. Despite the bloodshed and cultural upheaval, Charlemagne's conquest laid the groundwork for the future Saxon Empire. The Saxons, though subdued, were far from broken. While Charlemagne's conquest might have brought the Saxons under Frankish rule, it was their mastery of cavalry that would truly elevate them to dominance. The Saxon steed wasn't simply a mode of transportation, it was an extension of the warrior himself. Saxon horsemen became renowned for their devastating charges, wielding lances, swords, and axes with deadly efficiency. This newfound cavalry prowess allowed the Saxons to expand their influence beyond their traditional heartland. They launched successful campaigns against neighboring Slavic tribes, pushing their borders eastward. The Saxon steed became a symbol of their military might. From the ashes of Charlemagne's vast but fragmented empire arose a new power in the heart of Europe, the Ludolfing dynasty. The Ludolfings, shrewd politicians and capable military leaders, consolidated their power through strategic marriages, alliances, and victories. Henry the Fowler, the first of the Ludolfing dynasty to rise to prominence, is often credited with laying the foundation for the Saxon Empire. His son, Otto the Great, would continue his legacy, securing the imperial crown of the Holy Roman Empire. The Ludolfing dynasty marked a turning point in Saxon history. The Saxon Empire, once a distant dream, was now within reach. The clang of swords and the thunder of hooves often drowned out the quieter whispers of cultural transformation. Otto the Great, recognizing the power of imagery and symbolism, actively sought to emulate the grandeur of the Roman Empire. He commissioned magnificent cathedrals and monasteries, adorned with intricate carvings and breathtaking frescoes. These architectural marvels weren't just places of worship, they were centers of learning, attracting scholars and artists from across Europe. Under the Ottonian rulers, the written word experienced a resurgence. This flourishing of art, architecture, and learning wasn't merely a byproduct of the Saxons' political and economic success, it was a deliberate strategy to legitimize their rule. The Saxons possessed a deep understanding of the intricate workings of economics. At the heart of the Saxon economic engine lay a network of silver mines, particularly those located in the Harz Mountains. Saxon coins, renowned for their purity and weight, became the standard currency through much of Europe. The Saxons actively fostered economic growth through shrewd policies and strategic investments. They established trade routes that crisscrossed their territory, linking bustling market towns and connecting them to the wider world. This pragmatic approach to economics ensured that the Saxon Empire wasn't just a military powerhouse, it was a wealthy and prosperous realm. The Saxon Empire, for all its cultural achievements and economic prowess, was ultimately forged and sustained by the strength of its armies under the Ottonian rulers. The Saxon military underwent significant reform and expansion. Recognizing the limitations of relying solely on the traditional levy of free Saxon warriors, the Ottonians implemented a system of military service based on land tenure. Saxon military success wasn't solely due to numbers, it was also a product of their tactical flexibility and their willingness to embrace new technologies. They continued to refine their cavalry tactics, recognizing the importance of speed and maneuverability. This pragmatic approach to warfare ensured that the Saxon Empire remained a dominant military force. The Saxons also mastered the art of wielding the church as both a shield and a sword. The Ottonian rulers recognized the immense influence of the church and actively sought to forge a close alliance with the papacy. This close relationship with the church brought numerous benefits to the Saxon Empire. It provided them with a sense of divine legitimacy, a potent weapon in an age where rulers claimed to rule by the grace of God. The church provided the Saxons with a vast network of administrators, educators, and propagandists. The Saxons' skillful manipulation of religious institutions highlights the complex interplay between faith and power that characterized the medieval period. Think about Europe as a chessboard where each of the pieces is a different duchy or ambitious kingdom. The Holy Roman Empire was a fragmented landscape where power constantly shifted. Otto the Great secured the imperial crown and maintained power through alliances. He played rival dukes against each other, rewarding loyalty and crushing rebellion. Strategic marriages extended the Saxon sphere of influence. His son, Otto II, continued this delicate balancing act. The Saxon emperors transformed Saxony into the power broker of the Holy Roman Empire. The eastern frontier of the Saxon Empire was a land of stark beauty and constant danger. Here, amidst the dense forests and rolling plains, the Saxons faced a relentless tide of enemies, each with their own ambitions and a burning desire to claim a piece of the empire for themselves. The most persistent threat came from the Slavic tribes to the east. The Abodrites, the Veleti, the Luteci, Names that sent shivers down the spines of Saxon settlers waged a centuries-long struggle for control of the land. Saxon campaigns into the east were brutal affairs, marked by fire and bloodshed. Villages were razed, crops destroyed, and entire populations enslaved. Yet, the Saxons weren't simply driven by a thirst for conquest, they saw themselves as bearers of civilization, bringing Christianity and order to what they perceived as a savage land. Monasteries were established in the wake of the conquering armies, serving as beacons of faith and centers of learning, slowly drawing the Slavic population into the Saxon fold. This clash of cultures, of religions, and of ways of life would define the eastern frontier for generations. It was a crucible that tested the mettle of the Saxon warriors and the resolve of the Saxon settlers. And it was here, on this volatile frontier, that the Saxon Empire would face some of its greatest challenges and achieve some of its most hard-fought victories. The relationship between the Saxon emperors and the papacy was a complex and often fraught affair, a delicate dance between two institutions vying for supremacy in a world where spiritual and temporal power were inextricably intertwined. On the surface, the alliance seemed ironclad. The Ottonians had been instrumental in restoring the papacy to a position of power after decades of decline and corruption. They had defended Rome from invaders, appointed loyal bishops, and showered the church with land and privileges. In return, the Pope had bestowed upon them the imperial crown, granting them a divine legitimacy that no other ruler in Europe could claim. Yet, beneath this veneer of cooperation simmered a deep-seated tension. The Saxon emperors, acutely aware of the power they wielded, were loath to relinquish control over any aspect of their realm, including the church. They insisted on their right to appoint bishops, control church lands, and even influence papal elections. This interference in what the Pope saw as their rightful domain led to clashes, excommunications, and even open rebellion. This power struggle between the crown and the altar would have far-reaching consequences, not just for the Saxon Empire, but for the future of Europe. It would shape the relationship between church and state for centuries to come, leaving a legacy of both cooperation and conflict that continues to resonate to this day. The Saxon Empire, even with all of its external might and imperial grandeur, was not immune to the corrosive effects of internal strife. Ambition, greed, and the age-old struggle for power within noble families would ultimately weaken the very foundations upon which the empire had been built. The seeds of discord were sown even during the reigns of the early Ottonians. As the empire expanded, so too did the opportunities for ambitious nobles to carve out their own spheres of influence. Dukes, once content to rule their own lands and pay homage to the emperor, began to chafe under the increasingly centralized rule of the Ottonians. Rivalries between noble families, often fueled by disputes over land, titles, and access to the emperor's favor, created a climate of suspicion and intrigue. Alliances shifted like the sands of the desert. Loyalties were bought and sold, and whispers of rebellion echoed through the halls of power. The later Ottonian rulers, facing threats both foreign and domestic, found themselves increasingly reliant on the very nobles who plotted their downfall. This internal struggle for power, this cancer eating away at the heart of the empire, would ultimately weaken the Saxon grip on power, paving the way for new dynasties and new conflicts that would reshape the political landscape of Europe. According to the history books, Henry II, the last of the Ottonian emperors, is remembered as a saint. His reign was marked by rebellion, intrigue, and a struggle to preserve his legacy. Henry, a devout man, founded monasteries and embarked on pilgrimages. His piety earned admiration, but failed to quell noble unrest. Rebellions flared up regularly. Henry was constantly on the defensive. By his death in 1024, the Saxon Empire was a shadow of its former self. The treasury was depleted, the army weakened, and the nobility emboldened. Henry's death, without an heir, marked the end of the Ottonian dynasty. Their legacy, though tarnished, was profound. They forged an empire and repelled invaders. A new chapter in the Holy Roman Empire was about to begin. The Saxon legacy runs deep in German history. Like ancient oak roots, their influence shaped Germany for centuries. Saxon power and political skill lingered in Aachen and Vienna. The heartland remained a crucible of power. Saxony produced powerful dukes and electors. Their armies often tipped the scales of power. The Saxon legacy extended beyond politics. Their cultural contributions, like cathedrals, stood as testaments. These structures served as pilgrimage sites and centers of learning. The Saxon spirit continues to resonate in Germany as a legacy far more enduring than empires. The Saxon impacts stretch far beyond just their empire, influencing European law, language, and Christianity. Their legal traditions influenced European systems, laying the groundwork for due process and representative government. Saxon missionaries spread Christianity eastward, establishing monasteries and converting local populations. The Saxon language influenced English, enriching its vocabulary and shaping its character. From terms like bread, house, and fight, to concepts like freedom and wisdom, the Saxon legacy endures in the English language today. Most empires, even those consigned to the footnotes of history books, have a way of capturing the imagination. Their stories woven into the tapestry of myth and legend. The Saxons, despite their often overlooked significance, are no exception. Their exploits, both real and imagined, have been passed down through generations, romanticized in literature, immortalized in art, and even appropriated for political purposes. In England, where the Saxons eventually established their own kingdom, their memory became intertwined with notions of English identity. The legend of King Arthur, though shrouded in mystery and debated by historians, often incorporates elements of Saxon resistance to Anglo-Saxon rule. The image of the Saxon warrior, fierce and independent, resonated with later generations, even as the historical realities of their rule faded into the mists of time. During the 19th century, as European nations grappled with the rise of nationalism, the Saxon legacy was often invoked to legitimize claims of power and cultural superiority. In Germany, the memory of the Ottoman Empire, of a time when German rulers held sway over much of Europe, fueled dreams of a unification and imperial grandeur. The Saxon past, often romanticized and sanitized, became a powerful tool for shaping national identity and justifying political ambitions. The Saxon Empire has for too long been relegated to the shadows of medieval history, and it deserves a reassessment, a recognition of its profound and lasting impact on the course of European civilization. Their story is a testament to the power of human ambition, the complexities of cultural exchange, and the enduring legacy of empires, even those whose names may not be etched in every history book. Their rise from a collection of Germanic tribes to the architects of a vast empire is a testament to their military prowess, their political acumen, and their ability to adapt to the ever-changing dynamics of medieval Europe. They were masters of warfare, skilled diplomats, and shrewd patrons of the arts, recognizing that true power stemmed not just from force, but also from cultural influence and the ability to command the loyalty of their subjects. Their legacy, however, is not without its complexities. Their expansion eastward brought them into conflict with Slavic populations, leading to centuries of warfare, forced conversions, and cultural assimilation. Their relationship with the church, though often mutually beneficial, was also fraught with tension as the Saxon emperors sought to assert their authority over spiritual matters. The Saxon Empire, like all empires, was built on a foundation of both cooperation and conflict, of cultural exchange and forced assimilation, leaving behind a mixed legacy that continues to be debated and analyzed by historians today. And there it is, guys. Thanks for joining us on Arnie's Brain Train. We've gone back in time, unearthed the Forgotten Empire, and revealed the Saxon impact on the world we know today. But our quest for knowledge doesn't end here. History is a vast and endlessly fascinating landscape, filled with untold stories, hidden connections, and mind-blowing revelations just waiting to be discovered. If you found this deep dive into the Saxon Empire as mind-blowing as I did, then hit that subscribe button and join our growing community of history enthusiasts here at Arnie's Brain Train. All of our sources are in the description below, and we've got a whole trainload of historical investigations lined up, from ancient civilizations to modern mysteries, all delivered with the same fast-paced, engaging style of this video. Don't forget to let me know in the comments which historical mysteries you'd like us to tackle next. Your curiosity fuels our engine, and we're always on the lookout for new adventures in the past. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep the love of history alive. See you guys next time. Bye.